Do you know what the MARTA is?
Yes.
Evidence?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I know what the MARTA is.
Tell me about it. How do you feel? It's a little dirty.
Negative when it comes to like night travel or things like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes the monitor doesn't always come on time. It's always behind schedule.
I saw a rat while I was there.
And so like janky. Like the way you get in, you have to like tap the card and like it opens. But like you kind of just force your way through it. You can see
Yeah,
people
yeah.
doing that. You're not allowed to do. I wish it was like, wish it had better funding.
As a system, as a whole, I feel like it's honestly quite lacking in where you can go. I think that it has like the basics, but when it comes to actually going far, you can't actually get very far.
Have you ever ridden other forms of public transportation?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Do you think they're better than the MARTA or the MARTA is the best?
I mean, I think some other forms of transportation are better, like buses and stuff, because it's more private and less things can go wrong.
But it's probably not as safe. Is there anything else you prefer? I would probably prefer Uber.
So I'm from New Jersey, and I'm taking like NJ Transit and Subway a lot in New York, and I think Subway's definitely better organized and like more popular. So maybe the infrastructure is better in New York.
If the cost was the same, I would Uber every single time.
Compared to BART, which is in the Bay Area, it's kind of similar, except for the fact that it goes way farther, and to all the places you don't really need buses. The one in Atlanta doesn't really go very far at all, so I can't really go anywhere. And then the Swiss public transportation systems, like you can travel the whole country with them, and so they're a lot more reliable. They're on time. They're better apps, infrastructure to navigate them, whereas the Atlanta MARTA doesn't really have much at all.
We rode the MARTA to get some first hand experience, and this is what we found. The stations were extremely littered, with trash on the benches, floor, and tracks. Some surfaces were splattered with what looked like food from several weeks ago. We even saw a mouse on the platform. This constitutes a clear and immediate threat to public health and safety. In general, the sorry state of the platforms discourages people from using the MARTA, which, in turn, contributes to its degradation and neglect. Finally, we noticed that the turnstiles on several stations were broken, allowing people to freely pass through without using a ticket. While this may not seem like a big deal, the broken windows theory says otherwise. But what is the broken windows theory? It advocates that visible signs of crime, such as vandalism and disorder, promotes more serious crime. Stanford psychologist Philip Zimbaro famously abandoned two cars, one in crime ridden New York City and one in a high income neighborhood in Palo Alto. As expected, the one in New York was quickly vandalized and stripped for parts. However, he went back and smashed a window on the car in Palo Alto. Subsequently, the car was stripped apart just as quickly. NYPD Police Commissioner William Bratton applied this theory and successfully lowered violent crime by cracking down on minor crimes such as turnstile jumping. Indeed, a look at MARTA crime statistics shows that hundreds of Type 1 crimes, such as larceny, auto theft, and aggravated assault, have occurred in the MARTA during the last 5 years. Perhaps enforcing rules and performing regular upkeep on the MARTA could help make the transit system and the greater Atlanta area safer as a whole, in accordance with the broken windows theory.
Many benefits that would come from improving MARTA. For example, there would be reduced traffic congestion in Atlanta, since a well-functioning public transit system can reduce the number of private vehicles on the road. This would improve the air quality in Atlanta and make Atlanta a more desirable place to live in. Secondly, a reliable and efficient public transportation can attract companies and spur economic development. This is because accessible transit options make it easier for employees to commute to work and for consumers to access businesses. This will contribute heavily to the overall economic health of Atlanta. Furthermore, improving MARTA will result in a more accessible city. A well-developed transit system increases accessibility for all residents, including those who may not own a car, cannot drive, or prefer not to drive. This helps promote social inclusion and provides transportation options for various demographic groups. Additionally, improving MARTA will result in a more livable city. When residents have the freedom to move around the city easily without the stress of traffic congestion and parking issues, living in the heart of Atlanta becomes easier. New York is a good example of a well-implemented public transit, and you can see how much more coverage it has when compared to MARTA. Also, the subway comes much more frequently in New York, averaging 2 to 5 minutes during peak hours, while MARTA takes closer to 10 minutes. In order to reap the benefits that a good public transit system offers, a lot of planning, investment, and collaboration has to occur between government agencies, businesses, and the community. That's why it is important to keep raising awareness about the shortcomings of MARTA so that Atlanta can continue to grow and prosper as a city.
Now, wait a minute. Not everyone thinks the MARTA is bad. In fact, a lot of people online seem to love it. We have some other views about the MARTA. For example, on TripAdvisor, a lot of people repost to this question, is MARTA safe these days? And there's an overwhelming MARTA has always been safe, at least from Fulton and DeKalb counties, where they have consistently ridden on the MARTA. Or even if we look on Reddit, we've seen from Brookhaven and Dunwoody down to Midtown has been a nice ride for this person. And this has been an extended period of time, 5 years, 10 to 15 years riding anywhere else to downtown and to the Arts Center. Now, why is this the case? Why are we seeing these glowing reviews and these really, really positive crime rates? Now, we can see a correlation between the places these people have been going on those online posts. Dunwoody, Midtown, the airport, and Doraville have been the primary locations. Now, let's look at the map. These 4 locations are on the stretches of Atlanta, all the way around 285, around the stretches of I-85 and GA 400. And this also includes the airport. There's only one station, Midtown, which is relatively nice compared to the other stations in Atlanta. Now, if we look at where all the negative things are happening, we see it's pretty central, around Georgia State and Garnett, around the 4 points and 5 points in the center, and the Civic Center as well. Now, what this shows us is that most of the people who are feeling these positive reviews tend to have a really, really consistent background and consistent ride coming from one of these nicer locations. For tech students, this is not going to be the case. Most of us are going to be taking the North Ave, Midtown, Art Center, and Civic Center stations, which are not necessarily as nice as the ones on the outside. And we were going to be traveling through points like the 5 points and Garnett to get to the airport, which again are not as nice as these other locations, such as Doraville and Dunwoody.
The MARTA system has its faults. It's not irredeemable.
There are many ways that we as college students can help.
Contact Mayor Dickens or the Georgia Department of Transportation. Follow the links in the description for more information.